Hey friends, this is a video to show how to go over this week's homework. It is not that complex, but you do have to think first before you start working. Some of the things that we want our students to keep in mind is that it has to make sense. And we know right now by reading this information that there's a lot of things going on. So one of the first strategies we're going to use is going through and making sure that we understand that we know what we're looking for. Okay? So what I did was I went back through my information and I picked out everything that was important. I know the red pile, 78, 105 in the yellow, 55 in the orange, 72 in the brown. And I want to know how many more leaves does the yellow and orange pile have than the other two. So basically I'm going to be doing an add, subtract. Okay, so here's our first part of our analyze. We've got our numbers and labels. And what we did was we went ahead and wrote these all out. And there was a tricky one there, 72 for brown. We have to make sure that we put that in our list. And then we have how many yellows and orange than red and brown. And we have to make sure that we understand that, because if we don't, we're not going to actually get to the right answer. So we're going to be comparing, but we have to do some adding first. Okay, our next step is then we're going to see if we have any rounding, and there were no rounding hints. Now, approximately about anything like that that might tell us that we are having to round in this problem. So I went ahead and marked through our rounding box so we know we don't have to worry about it. So then our next step is figuring out our first step, and that's going to be adding the yellow and orange pile numbers together. Then our next step is going to be adding the red and the brown. This problem has a third step, and that's going to be to find the difference between the two piles that we've already combined. We combined yellow and orange and brown and red. Now we're ready to move to our do. So we're going to take the first step that we said, adding the yellow and orange, and we're doing that by taking a 105 plus 55, and that gives us 160, making sure we regroup properly. So our second step was to add the brown and the red, or the red and the brown, and 78 plus 72 gave us 150, or I'm sorry, 150. That brings us to our last step, which is taking these two totals and comparing them, the yellow and orange to the red and brown, and that gave us a difference of 10, which is our final answer. Of course, we had to circle and label our answer to make sure that we know that is our answer. So for our justify, all we're going to do is take our answer and reverse operation to see if we got the same total as what we started with on the last part of our problem. Yes, we could go back through and keep subtracting, but really this is just a way to check and make sure that it makes sense, and it does. So here's a quick overview of how all of your work should look when you're finished. You should have 4 numbers and labels. You should have 3 steps in your do, and then your justify, and you're all set.